All right, so it's middle of day one here, about 6 miles in, about 5 to go to my Deer Lake camp. Just dropping down to Paiute Meadow here. So far so good. My last trip, of course, got canceled, cut short, whatever you want to call it, because of my hip. So a little nervous about this one, but so far so good. Don't want to jinx it, but seems to be all right. So we'll see. Got 5 more miles, but I'll let you know how it goes. But so far so good. So first time in Emigrant Wilderness, but real gorgeous area. Starting to open up now, so real nice views. So all right, it is the end of day one here. I made it to Deer Lake. So we got an 11-mile day, and the good news is my hip held up, so I actually made it to camp for once. Didn't have to turn around, which is always nice. But yeah, got it pretty much all to myself. I didn't see, there's a chain of lakes after Paiute Meadow. There's Paiute Lake, Gem Lake, and Jewelry Lake, and then this one, all of which didn't seem to have a bunch of people on it. Nobody, for that matter. I guess that's what you get when you go out on a Wednesday or Monday. So yeah, really nice. I had a nice little swim in the lake, cleaned up. It's starting to get a little chilly, so it might be an early night for me climbing in the sleeping bag. I don't think I'm going to mess around with the fire, which would be illegal, but I don't really feel like messing around with it for what it's worth. So probably just eat dinner and early to bed. And I've got a little 6-mile day hike planned tomorrow to Buck Lakes, and then down to a lower lake, and then back up to my home, which I'll be here for 2 nights. So very nice. Good start to the trip. All right, well, it's morning of day 2 here, about 9 o'clock. Just had a nice lazy morning in camp. Had some coffee, some oatmeal, hung out, read, watched the fish strike early in the morning, and now I'm off on my little day hike like I mentioned yesterday. So just 6 miles, doing a little loop from Buck down to Wood Lake and back to camp. So just taking it easy, but so far so good. So yeah, I'm down at the end of Deer Lake, so it's pretty massive. It's a little bigger than it looks on the map, but I'm camped kind of closer to that other end on the left hand side there. But yeah, good night. No wind, slept decent, but yeah, so far so good for day 2. All right, well, I have made it back to camp here at Deer Lake. It was an adventure, but as my old manager Jordan Franco used to say, the difference between an adventure and an ordeal is your attitude. So I tried my best to keep it an adventure and not an ordeal. It was a weird day. It was just a series of little things, like the universe telling me, hey, you shouldn't be doing this, you should just turn around. I got turned around at lower Buck Lake, for example. There was like a knee-deep wade across lakes that were oddly connected that shouldn't be, and then the capper was just trying to follow the dotted lines, the unmaintained trail, from the main trail that would, the main lower trail that would connect just below Deer Lake. That turned out to be nothing but just a cobweb of spider web of use trails that led to equestrian camps and all sorts of crazy stuff. So I just really got turned around and did what maybe was a very smart thing and just retraced my steps on the main trail, not wanting to chance. There was another opportunity that would have been a little longer, but it still had a 0.5 section on the unmaintained trail that, based on my first experience, I didn't want to do. So what should have been a 7.5 mile day hike turned into a 10, and just retraced my steps. But it's real pretty out here, so I didn't mind. Got back in time for a swim in the lake. Didn't have to set up camp, of course, which was nice. So just hanging out, trying to find some shade, stay out of the wind, just read my book. So I'll fill you in more. This is getting kind of long, but I'll fill you in why that was kind of serendipitous today, my experience. I'm so happy it wasn't tomorrow. So I'll tell you more about that in the morning. Okay, it's morning of day 3. Heading out here, just passing Gem Lake. Got an early start today. It's about 7:30 when I was on trail. So as I mentioned yesterday, fortuitous that I made a mess of those unmaintained trails. So I decided to just retrace my steps back to the car, because the original plan was going to be, if you look at a map for Emigrant Wilderness, there's a really tight loop. I was going to take the bottom half of the loop down to Pine Valley and then take an unmaintained trail up for about 9/10 of a mile, which will intersect the upper part of the loop and then ultimately back to the car. Not ideal to be farting around doing that, so I don't mind retracing my steps, kind of just like how yesterday worked out. Again, it's real pretty through here, so I do not mind. Plus it's a little bit shorter. But all in all, another great trip in the book.